Good morning. Welcome to this week's family message. This week I woke up one of the mornings and it was foggy outside, super foggy, like you couldn't see anything. I went out to feed the cows and you literally couldn't see anything. So it was just, and it reminded me of when I was in prison. We had foggy days like that, and they called it, we'd have fog counts, and that was when you had to stay inside and you couldn't leave your cell, and you had to wait for them to come and count you and to make sure you weren't escaping or something. I guess that was the reason behind it. And I used to hate that. I used to hate that lockdowns that we would have, and when they'd take the weight pile away, or when they would restrict things, or when they would hold back things. I used to hate those things. But I look back and I think, there are times that I really didn't hate it, because fog count meant that I didn't have to go to work that early, so I could sleep in a little bit or get things done around my place that I wanted to do, or whatever. Just change the routine a little bit. I mean, year after year of the same routine gets old, right? It reminded me in the scriptures when I was reading in Mark 5 this week. I was reading about how Christ entered into a town, and he went out to the hills, and there was a wild man out there. The wild man had demons. He had demons inside of him, and he went out to cast the demons out, and it ended up being a legion of demons that were inside this man, and there were many of them inside this man. And he cast it out, and the demons asked if they can go into a herd of pigs that were right there, and Christ led them, and they went into this herd of pigs, and this herd of pigs got all wild and just ran off a cliff and died. So Christ was there, and he killed this herd of pigs, and that's how people made their living there. They raised pigs. And so the people were kind of mad about that, and they asked Christ if he would leave. They asked him if he would leave. They didn't realize the things that he was doing for them were so good. And it got me to thinking about, in our lives, how often do we think that things that are happening in our lives, terrible things in our lives, aren't really terrible? They're really amazing. They're really good for us. They're really helping us to get where we want to be. If we reflect on our lives and we look at all the different areas of our lives and we think, oh man, why is this happening? Or why did this happen? Or why did that happen? Or what's going on with this? Or why don't I have this? Or how come I have to have that? Sometimes there's reasons for that. Sometimes Christ has reasons for that. Sometimes God is working in our lives. And so we need to look at that. We need to look and see if some of these terrible things, or things we think are so terrible, aren't really so terrible. They're really good for us. I love you. I hope you have a good week this week. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.